Hello, bonjour, bienvenue, welcome. In this video, I'd like to teach you about some useful functions that can be used to manipulate text and also dates in Excel. And to illustrate the application of these functions, I'm going to use a range of fictitious student enrollment data and focus exclusively on the very strange session code that is used by my university. I don't know who invented these, but they're not intuitively useful. Everyone who works with them long enough knows how to read them. For example, this one means January 2023. The 0 is dropped from the year, and the last digit is the number of the month. But you can't use these codes in Excel to do any date calculations easily, so let's transform these codes into something that is more intuitively obvious and also more practically functional. So first, I've frozen the pane in order to keep the strange session code always visible. And I've also added a gray column in column S to separate the data range from the formulas that we're going to use. And finally, I've already added the headers of what I want to calculate for this example. So first, let's use Excel to extract the month number from the strange session code. Essentially, we want to read the rightmost digit in cell C2. And this is easily done by using the right function. Get it? The right function. So if I type equals right, then I must specify the cell that contains the text to analyze, C2, comma, and the number of characters to extract from the right, in this case, 1 character. Now, by leaving the cell reference relative, I can click and drag this all the way down to the bottom of the table. Next, to extract the year from the session code, I'm going to combine a few functions. So the overarching function is called CONCAT for concatenate. And I can use that to join together text contained within the brackets of the function, separated by commas. So the first character of the year is the leftmost character in cell C2. So I'm going to use the function left, then specify cell C2, and then the number of characters to extract, in this case 1 character. And I'm going to join that character with the number 0, shown in quotes, separated by commas. And now to complete the year, I'm going to extract the middle 2 characters from C2. To do this, I use the mid function, bracket, specify cell C2, and now I must specify the number of the starting character, which is number 2, and how many characters to extract, which is 2. So that will extract the 2 and the 3. And when I close the concat function with a bracket and hit return, it's returned the word 2023. The 2 coming from the left, the 0 being inserted, and the 3 coming from the middle 2 characters. Now if I double click on the lower right hand corner, it's completed all the way down the column. Now let's put the text phrases together in another function. If we use the date function in cell V2, we can specify that the year of this date comes from cell U2, the month of the date comes from cell T2, and the day of the start date is the first day of the month. Now when I hit return, a date is shown in cell V2, and you'll note that the format of the cell has been automatically reformatted to show a date format. Now, if I change the cell formatting back to general, you might think that something didn't work, but it did. This is how Excel understands and works with dates. Excel considers that January 1st in the year 1900 is day 1. And that makes January 1st in 2023 day number 44,927. That's how Excel can add and subtract dates so easily. But when you use the date function, Excel also converts the formatting of the cell to date so that it makes it easier for us to read. Now that we've translated the text of the session code to an actual Excel date, we can use this in date calculations. For example, let's say we want to calculate the 48-month mark of each student's program, as though that were some kind of 4-year deadline. We can use a function to simply add 47 months to the start date. And there's actually a specific function to do that called EDATE. So in cell W2, I can type EDATE, refer to cell V2 as the start date, comma, and add 47 months to that date. When I hit return and change this to date format, it tells me the 48th month of the program. But let's say I wanted to give the student to the end of the month in question. So I want to report the last day of whatever month this is. Now I can do this by nesting the EDATE function inside another function called EOMONTH for end of month. This will calculate the last day of the month indicated here, and it will add on a certain number of months, but I don't want to do that, so add 0 months. Thank you. Now when we hit return, the reported date has changed to December 31st. And when we double click to fill these columns, we can see that Excel knows there are 31 days in December and 31 days in August, but only 30 days in April. Good job, buddy. So now let's do one last date manipulation. Let's calculate how many days remain in the program for each student from today until their fictitious deadline. So working with proper Excel dates, this is easy. Not so easy with strange session codes. It's as simple as entering a formula where we take the date shown in cell W2 and subtract today's date, which is itself a function in an Excel called today with empty brackets. Now, in this case, Excel has calculated the date data and then automatically reformatted the cell as a date, but in this case we don't want it to do that. We actually want the number resulting from the extraction, which tells us the number of days difference between the end of the degree period and today. So if we reformat X2 as general format, we can see the number of days and then double click to complete the column. Now, if I were using this spreadsheet to keep track of students who were overdue for something, I would use some conditional formatting to highlight the cells that had a value less than 0 to show the students that are overdue. And I would use formatting like light red fill with dark red text to make it really shocking, to show in dramatic fashion all of the students that have some time left before their end of their degree and those that are thousands of days overdue in this example, which is purely fictitious, so no need to panic.